Public Works, Parks, Rec, and Railroad Committee to order. First thing we'll need is a motion to approve the minutes of the prior committee meeting. Motion Supervisor Dickinson, seconded by Supervisor Conover. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Tennyson.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. We have Justin Gagnon here from Saratoga North Creek. We'll let him give his brief.
Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year. So I guess I'll start with an update from Polar Express. Polar Express ended on December 28th. Through the 6-week operating period, which started November 17th, we brought in just under 25,000 passengers. So another successful year for Polar Express is just wrapped up. Obviously, we all know we're not operating the snow train this year. Looking forward to the spring, summer, and fall operating seasons, we're introducing something brand new this year. In 2013, we ran 4 dinner trains, and the 4 dinner trains sold out. So in 2014, we ran 9 dinner trains, which included running dinner trains on the Tuesdays for the dark days for the Saratoga racetrack. Those 9 trains sold out. In 2014, we ran 14 dinner trains, including 2 from North Creek. All but one of those sold out. So what this showed us was a growing trend in a successful business franchise with our dinner trains. So in 2016, we'll be operating 94 dinner trains starting June 4th through October 28th. We're going to be combining this with our brand name called Pullman. For those of you who aren't familiar with our Pullman brand, we operate that on our commuter train out in Oklahoma, and we also operate it on our Amtrak service between Chicago and New Orleans. Pullman, up until probably the 1960s, was the premier name in rail travel. It kind of went by the wayside as passenger operations, as private passenger operations went by the wayside and Amtrak took over all of the operations. The Pullman name kind of went away. Iowa Pacific revived the Pullman name in 2012, and we offer it on those trains, and we are very pleased that this premier luxury service is going to be coming to the Saratoga North Creek Railway. So what does that mean for the train itself that's different from our current dinner trains? We are going to be receiving some new equipment for these dinner trains that will be specific for these dinner trains. We'll have a 48-passenger dining car that will have a full kitchen in it, whereas our current dining cars, which are our dome cars, they have what we refer to as a galley, which is basically just a small kitchen. These dining cars will have a larger full kitchen, which will be capable of serving up to 300 meals per run. And we will also be offering at least one luxurious lounge car. And this lounge car will have a bar and big oversized seats, and it'll basically just be an opportunity for passengers to get up and move around, walk around, socialize with each other. So as I said, they will be starting June 4th. They will operate through October 28th. The breakdown will be 31 dinner trains, 26 brunch trains, 32 lunch trains, and then 5 holiday trains, which will serve both lunch and brunch. The food is all going to be sourced locally. It will be featuring, many area businesses which offer specific types of food, and we also will be having our own bottled wine, which will be sourced from greenfields from Fossil Stone Vineyards. So this is a very exciting new business franchise, and it will run in conjunction with our regularly scheduled trains. And that is all I have for today.
Where do they run from? Saratoga to north?
They'll run from Saratoga to Thurman and back.
Is there any update on the Caboose at the Thurman station? What's the plans for that next year? It was supposed to open this year for last summer for food service, it never did. Can you speak at all to what the plans are for the spring?
Yes, we still have an interested operator for the Caboose, and the plan, as it was in the fall, although it didn't open up last year, it will open up this spring.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, the next item is on page 1 and 2. This is a request to transfer some funds out of one of my buildings and grounds codes into a part-time temporary help code in Parks and Recs. And really this is to correct an error or something that slipped through in the budget process. Just as a little bit of background, some of the committee members that were around back in 2014 might remember we had 4 maintenance personnel, full-time maintenance personnel on Parks and Recs group. We eliminated a position when somebody had been terminated from the crew. I took a portion of that salary in 2014, mid-year 2014, and moved it into a temporary code. And the way we finished out 2014 was to have 3 full-time personnel, and then they would augment that 3-man crew with a temporary person for the summer season, which is really a heightened maintenance with all of the facilities the crew maintains. So that got us through 2014. In 2015, it slipped through the budget process because I didn't amend the salary schedule. And when the budget team put together the budget going into 2015, they went by the original salary schedule, which I had not amended because we just moved it and kept going for 2014. So in 2015, I had this error where this money was not available too. We handled it in 2015 by moving funds out of a salary surplus that we had in Parks and Recs, out of our main code into a temporary code, and we completed the year out. We brought on a temporary person. Unfortunately, I missed it again too in the budget process, so we're into 2016. I still don't have but this time we're going to get it right. So I need to move some money in here to be able to keep this crew functional for the summer season. And then we also will be amending the salary schedule to accommodate this money, and then I guarantee I will make sure, and you will all make sure, I'm sure too, for 2017 it'll be in the budget. So what I'd like to do is move the money from one code to another so that we can
So you're just moving the money around in your budget?
yes, and I think what Joanne McKinstry had asked me to do too is, and maybe I should have added another resolution. We need to amend the salary schedule to place, and that's not here. So we'll need this resolution, yes, table of organization to reflect the temporary helpline, so that covers the helpline. And then on item 2 is the actual moving of the money out of a buildings and grounds contract code into the Parks and Rec salary part-time.
Make a resolution to do both.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll second that.
a motion and a second. Supervisor Dickinson. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, carried.
That includes the table?
Yes,
Oh.
right, on page 1 is the request to do the table. Okay, I'll refer you to page 3 for, this is a draft flyer we have, but I have Jeff Ingley here. Jeff is our fish management
Specialist.
Fish management specialist. He runs the hatchery. So he is our fish expert in the county, and I asked Jeff to come and brief the committee on a new event that we're going to hold down at the hatchery on May 14th.
Yes, if this event goes well, we'd like to make it an annual event. What we're looking to do is kind of publicize ourselves, the hatchery. We've lost a lot of schools that used to come down for hatchery tours, and we're getting a lot of Boy Scouts and Girl Scout groups, but we really want to bring in a bunch more people, and with help with a bunch of local sponsors, it's kind of a multifaceted event, pulling in the whole fishing industry all together. What we're going to be doing is as far as the hatchery goes, hatchery tours so everyone can see the life cycle of the hatchery, and do like stocking demonstrations and such. And our local sponsors are going to help up with casting and fly casting demonstrations, and people will actually be able to physically do this at our pond under monitored events. Our own Parks and Recreations up beyond the farm is going to step up. They're going to do a presentation on stream entomology. DEC is going to do a section on aquatic biological health. Trout Unlimited will be doing some fly casting stuff. Crossroads is going to be taking care of a fly tying portion. And Nemec Sport Shop and Fish 307 are going to be doing a fishing tactics section. And the Lake George Association wants to be involved as well, and they want to do a presentation on aquatic invasive species. So it's really a whole event that'll encompass everything in our aquatic realm that we deal with as a whole, right from the life cycle to all the businesses that are in support of doing this, and how the hatchery itself is tied in so tightly with the fishing industry and the Lake George Association, conservation clubs, and things like that. And we've also had a great deal of help from Warren County Tourism. They've stepped up and helped create this flyer, and they're going to help us publicize the event. It'll be open to the public, kids, adults, any age, anyone who wants to be involved and learn something new. It'll be a great way for people to come out and learn something in a fun, educational way. We're going to do the local sports shops have stepped up. They're going to provide equipment that we can raffle off, so we're going to do a raffle every hour. And we're also going to provide lunch for people. We've got an application through the Department of Health to take care of that, which is free. So, other than that, does anyone have any questions?
Jeff, now that I'm chairman of this, I was just wondering if
Nice to meet you.
I'll get that list of where all the big trout are in Warren County. I think
Absolutely.
Ralph had that list. You didn't hand that over to me, so.
Top secret info.
Yeah. That's his point.
Thank you. This is exciting.
So I just want to say that we're thrilled to work with Jeff and Jeff on this, just to contribute a little bit from the tourism perspective. We know that fishing is wildly popular, and the fish hatchery is a wonderful resource for the county. So Jeff put together a little Word doc, and I brought that back to Peter Gerard in our office. So if you know Peter, he does a really nice job. So he put together the flyer. So we'll promote this on our website and all of our social media channels. And I think already Jeff said he just typed in spring zing, and it came up on a couple of other websites. So we know that other people are using our calendar of events as a resource. So we're happy to work together with you on this, and a nice event moving forward.
Good.
Can I just follow up on a few things? We will distribute flyers. There's a few minor tweaks we're going to do to this one before it's final, but that'll occur this week, and then I'll get it out to all the towns so you can post it. And then we're going to work on a larger poster with the help of tourism, probably an 11 by 17 one that can be posted in different areas. The intent with this, as Jeff said, is really to do an annual event, and we wanted to do it in the spring when people are thinking about getting out and fishing, and parents are thinking about getting their kids into it. And also we wanted to mesh it with some of the bigger derbies that are occurring. So this was a date that we picked that slides right between the Crandall Pond Derby and the Mill Pond Derby up in Verkin. So as we look forward into next year, we'll try and fit that in where it makes sense around those other derbies. And really our goal was to bring in everyone engaged in the fishing industry. So we've got those local businesses, we've got the not-for-profits, and we've got 4-H involved. And I asked Jeff to kind of work on a layout, and this is kind of our draft, but we're going to use the entire hatchery and it'll be basically round robin events, for every age, child or adult. And they'll be able to rotate through, and we think it'll be, you know, a full day event for someone that wants to rotate through and see the hatchery operation, see our visitor center there, but then also get through all of the, fishing clinic items. And so that's why we said, let's provide a lunch down there, so our Up Yonda guys are gonna be, you know, helping us out, getting our permits like they do up at Up Yonda. Keep people right there, and hopefully this event will grow each year. So that's our plan.
Gene?
Jeff, are you needing any funds for this?
I think we're okay. I mean, we're gonna go really cheap, on food. We're doing hot dogs and chips. And so that's what we're gonna provide. If anybody, obviously, the pavilions will be, utilized for some of the training, but people can bring their own bag lunches too, if they like. The sponsors are stepping up with providing the training, and they're also providing, equipment, and we're thinking that every kid under a certain age might leave with a little goodie bag that'll give them some, starter kit or, something to get them interested in fishing. So really the sponsors, which we reached out to the locally owned, the Warren County, local owned businesses. So we've got Crossroads, Nemix, Fish 307, and John's Outdoor Sports involved right now. And they're excited about it as well, and Jeff has been talking with them. They're gonna provide all of the big ticket items as you know, a community event, and hopefully the goal is to generate more anglers out of the event and get more kids involved and kind of grow that angling industry.
How about volunteers, Jeff? Have you got enough help? Do you need a couple of supervisors?
We have
I
a
could
lot
be
of
available.
the, like 4-H has got quite a few people that they deal with, and so they're gonna have an extensive group to help us out, and Trout Unlimited, they'll be working directly with people, and we'll have people from Parks and Recreation to be able to monitor the whole event.
I think we'll be in good shape, but certainly if anyone wants to come and participate, you know, let me know, or let Jeff or Paul know, and it'd be great to have any supervisors come down and participate, or if you want to assist and help with some of the clinics and events going on, that'd be great too.
I can cook hot dogs.
You can do the hot dogs.
Everyone wants to be the cook.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, the last item to talk about is a request that we got from Thousand Acres. Thousand Acres is in the process of changing ownership, and the new potential owners had a concern regarding their easements for crossings. They have 2 crossings over the railroad. One is their main entrance directly into the clubhouse, not the clubhouse, but the main dining facility and the main resort area entrance. And then there's also essentially a cart path crossing over by the golf course end of the area. So this was passed to me by county administrator. We did a little bit of homework, and I had Paul go back into the valuation maps that really tell us the history of the railroad as we took ownership of it. And I included in the packet, you'll see, the package didn't come out copied too well, but we have 2 existing crossings essentially. And I know when this came up before, there was an issue where Thousand Acres was concerned about snowmobile crossings at their main entrance. The snowmobiles used to come down in there. This was when Saratoga North Creek first took over. We pulled the val maps with them, determined that it was a legitimate crossing, and their position then was, okay, it's a legitimate crossing, no issues. I think that's gonna be the same process now. We still have Justin here to speak to it from the railroad's perspective, but my thought was just to verify through the county attorney that we're all set. I believe that those existing crossings are durable, and I believe from a standpoint of the railroad industry, that the railroad company agrees, and they would honor those crossings, you know, for whoever owns the property.
Really?
What about the third crossing that they make reference to the additional parcel that, for recreational purposes? I didn't see anything in the packet on that, but it was mentioned in the letter. There's a 6-acre parcel or something like that?
I haven't looked at that one.
Okay.
It's landlocked, isn't it?
It is a
That's what it says.
6-acre portion. It appears to be only used for recreational purposes, otherwise landlocked, and enjoys only restrictive and uninsurable rights of access. They're concerned with access, it says, so I didn't know if we were doing anything for that, or if that was not part of this.
I think we can follow up, and I'll have Paul search. We'll have to nail that down.
Okay.
And I know Paul has been talking with the owners, so I know their main concern was the commercial areas.
Right.
We know that we don't believe there's gonna be any impact there for those crossings, and then we'll have to follow up on the other ones.
That's fine, thank you.
Okay.
So I don't believe there's any committee action unless, Paul, I don't.
The only thing I would recommend, Jeff, is that, you know, maybe, if it's acceptable to the committee, because of the urgency of this situation, if you run into a problem, I don't know if you wanna have a special committee meeting, or you want Jeff to bring it up at the board meeting or something, but, you know, I think that, I know there is a certain urgency, because they're trying to close this transaction, and they're waiting to hear back from the county.
I'd make a resolution that we, let Jeff go forward with these two that he's aware of. Find out if there is a third, and if it is, bring it to the
Or back to the board.
full board.
Okay.
Next Friday, yeah.
We have a motion, second, Mr. Molino. Any discussion?
Yeah, just, I think if we, articulate the easements, I think we should be, thinking about what we're articulating the easements for going forward. If the one easement is to access their place of business and for the customers to access their place of business, then I think the easement should prescribe that. I think if the other easement has to do with the golf course and allows for golf carts to cross there, then I think it should be that specific, such that, not that this would happen, but such that should these uses cease in the future, then those easements would cease for, or would have to be approved for other types of activities. And as far as the one on the recreational use, is that the one that I'm having a little confusion. Is that the one that shows a water line of some type as well?
We didn't include it.
They don't have any.
You don't have anything included here? Because I see something here also talks about a water line, so I mean, if that's important to the easement, then
The water line was actually a license at one point, and they gave that up. That happened a number of years ago. So that one, and the attorneys know about that one, so that's not an issue.
So that would be my only suggestion to Paul, you know, when you talk to the attorneys, that it should be, the easement should be that specific.
Good point. Descriptive.
So, do you definitely not wanna include something like snowmobiles, or you just concerned that it's earmarked for golf course?
No, I think that's kind of where I'm going with it. If, for example, if the one, I'm not sure what it meant when it said recreational use, I heard that term, but if the recreational use is to allow for hiking, biking, and snowmobiles, then we should.
No, that was for the 6-acre parcel,
That was for the 6 and
not for the other two.
Not for the other two, so
No.
that's yet to come to us, right?
Yes, that's yet
That's
to
yet
come
to
to us.
come to
They
us,
have-
but as far as the other two are concerned, but no, I, whatever the program is, I think those are good programs, and if people can cross there, that's a good thing, particularly if it relates to recreation, and that's something that we might want to take time with, to make sure it's absolutely clear that those rights exist.
They're crossing railroad, right? How fast are trains going there, Justin?
30.
Miles an hour, I see. Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Oh,
I'm not sure why we wanna restrict it, maybe the golf course one. Golf course. The other one, I'm not sure why we want to put any restrictions on. Let's find out what it is. I don't think we know what it is, do we?
I don't know that we have any real easement description for these valve maps. I think it's a crossing, and it's always been there. I think do you know, Paul, if there's any written easement language that goes with these? I don't believe there is. So, if we're, so I'm not sure what latitude we have to prescribe, restrictions on it. I don't know, I'd have to refer that to the county attorney's office. And then, it appears from, regarding the 6-acre parcel, we'll nail that down, but it appears maybe they're referring to something that is an informal crossing now, and maybe which there's other informal crossings all over the railroad where people walk, and might be a footpath, but it's still an informal crossing, as we had with, King School.
Right.
They've had that informal crossing there for, decades. So then the question is, do we wanna authorize it would essentially be a new formal crossing for that parcel, so, if it's okay with the committee to at least authorize me to come back I can report back to, the full board, or, as soon as I find information, I can push it out to all the committee members,
That would be fine.
and then be happy to address it at the full board meeting if we need to take the board action.
Okay. Justin?
If we're looking at this as a safety standpoint, just as a side note, the train does blow the whistle for both of those crossings.
Well, they got fairly decent sight visibility too.
Yes. Justin, are you aware of this other crossing? I know there's all sorts of footpaths that cross.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Anything else in that area?
specifically which one that they're talking about, but, just as a precedent, if it's on the Val maps, or if it's an existing crossing when we took over the railroad, we'll continue to honor as, whatever intended use for. And as far as what's going over the crossing, if it can operate over the crossing safely, then it doesn't really matter to us what they're using.
Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
That's all we have for Paul.
I know.
Next time you do it all.
We'll go over it again.
Okay, we'll move right into the DPW.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Simpson. First item is a new grant. You'll see you've got multiple pages here to go with this. These are the grant agreements from New York State DOT. This is for highway preservation project for County Route 17, 52, and 79. We've accepted the first few resolutions here. We accept the grant on page 1. On page 6, we increase the capital project. At this point, we're receiving only federal commitment. We did not receive a Marchicelli commitment as of yet. But on page 6 shows the increase and the shares for that. And then on page 7 is an amendment to the budget which pulls some of the county share that was in the project back out of the project into our transfers to capital projects code, which is the Z9950 code. That's the pot of money we pull local shares out for all of our federal aid projects.
So you wanna do those three as one?
They all relate to the same project. You can do them individually or
I'll make
together.
that motion.
Okay, we have a motion,
1
1,
through 7.
6, yeah, 1 through 7.
I'll second that.
Second, Supervisor Wood. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
On page 8 is a amend budget request to accept an insurance recovery. This is for one of our tandem insurance claims.
Make that motion.
Okay, Supervisor Dickinson made the motion. Second. Supervisor Sokol. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Next request is on page 11. We were contacted by the treasurer's office. The budget amendment was needed because of a delay in when we were taking ownership of a vacuum excavator. This is a coordinated effort with Soil and Water. It didn't come through committee originally. It went directly to finance. But as things have come back, they've now are sending them through this committee. But essentially, we're just amending the budget to establish revenue and appropriation codes in 2016 these same codes existed in 2015, we've just gotta recreate them in 2016 to be able to, receive this VACX.
Okay, Supervisor Conover, seconded by Supervisor Wood. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
On page 15 is a, amend resolution, 560 of 2015. This is the resolution that authorized the intermunicipal agreements with the various townships that are participating in the solid waste and, hauling bids. This is simply adding in the language to authorize the contract to cover the electronic recycling.
Motion by Supervisor Wood, seconded by Supervisor Conover. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
On page 16 is an intensive backfill, heavy equipment operator position. This has gone through the necessary approvals, and, I think officially I need to bring this through committee, so this is one of our heavy equipment operators who is, retiring. This will allow me to backfill his position and positions that are created due to, promotions.
Okay, motion by Supervisor Sokol, seconded by Supervisor Dickinson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
On page 17 is a request to approve, application and, enrollment in job-related courses for one of the DPW employees.
Motion by Supervisor Wood. We have a second. Supervisor Dickinson. Any discussion? Chairman Garrity?
Yeah, what is our, policy? They have to stay with us for 3 years if you educate them, or can they leave immediately?
If they're covered by, is this person covered by the union?
No.
Oh, okay, I'm not sure if it's a non-union employee. The union does have a policy that, they have to pay it back if they don't stay so long, but I'd have to check the non-union for you.
It's like the second time we paid, right, for this?
She was a
I think this
union
is-
employee at one point.
Yes, she was union, she's now non-union.
But I just think if we're gonna educate people, we ought to have something that they stay for at least 3 years.
What we could do is, first of all, check it to see if they have the same policy as the union. If we don't, we could certainly put this on the personnel agenda.
And generally, when it comes to union or non-union, if there's a policy in the contract for, CSEA, it's generally been reflected to non-union unless it was superseded by some other policy.
So do we go forward with this, or do we
Well,
make a
I'd like you
change
to, regardless of the change in policy, I think this, requesting that this be approved.
I'm gonna amend my motion to make it contingent on approval, we don't have personnel anymore, so I don't wanna keep saying personnel,
Oh,
but,
yes, sorry. Yeah.
but I guess finance is gonna be a busy committee now.
So
Then
you-
we give Paul some time to check on it, and it would allow a number of other supervisors to weigh in as well.
Okay,
I
I can't remember who made them.
do.
You okay with that amendment?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, carried.
On page 19 is a request to decrease a, salary. This was simply something that, slipped through the budget process, so this is correcting a salary for an employee. Essentially what has ended up happening was, the prior employee's salary had been included in the, salary schedule in the budget. New employee was promoted to that position, so we went back to the original, starting salary, but we didn't adjust it in the budget. So this would adjust it in the budget and set the, salary at the original $43,000 for 2015, and then with the, raise for 2016, the new salary would be the $44,075.
I'll move that.
Motion by Supervisor Dickinson, seconded by Supervisor Frazier. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
The next one is an increase to salary. This is a similar situation where, the individual was promoted into the position. The routine of the budget team has been that any any vacant positions at the time the budget is adopted does not get the annual raise going into the next year. If the position is vacant, they don't increase the salary for that vacant position. This position was not vacant, however, it was filled early in the budget process. They thought it was still vacant, so this again is to correct that salary, so the individual gets the proper raise.
Someone wanna move that? Supervisor Wood, seconded by Supervisor Dickinson. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Under pending items, this is a repeat from last month, but we're still waiting on some DOT grant agreements, for these two projects, H 364 and 365. Again, if we get those, we'd like to move quickly to, place those monies into use, so making the committee aware, because I'm requesting out of committee, if we get those from DOT, but we're waiting on DOT to provide those grant agreements at this point.
Do you want a resolution to do that, contingent on receiving them, or?
I've never needed it before,
Okay.
but as long as I think the committee's consensus is, sure, bring it out of committee, I just need a signature from Chairman Simpson to initiate that through the process. These are grant agreements. These are, these are our typical 80% federal, 15% state. I don't anticipate anyone objecting to us receiving the grant, at least not highway-related grants.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah, we'll try it, see how it works.
Okay.
On page 21 is just a little bit of background information. Supervisor Dickinson had approached my office earlier this past year, and with the desire to determine the highway right-of-way on Fort George Road in the town of Lake George. And we talked a little bit more about the process, and this is really just an FYI for the committee. There's no committee action necessary unless someone's opposed to us allowing parking on that road, but the way highway law works, the locality has authority over parking on any road, so whether it's a county road or a state road within the town of Lake George controls parking. They pass whether you can park or not. They would control parking lanes. They would also control revenue for those lanes, if there is any revenue. So we went through a process back when the Beach Road project was underway. We determined that it's a 3-rod right-of-way, which is just a little bit under 50 feet wide. DEC at the time concurred because we had to get some temporary permits from them for the end of Fort George Road, where it meets Beach Road. And so we've got some precedents. The DEC is on board that yes, in fact, it's a 3-rod right-of-way. And our process within my department is simply to work with the town and their engineer. When they come up with a plan, we will review it, and then we issue a highway work permit, same as we've done recently on Westbrook Road, where the town had initiated adding a parking lane there. So I wanted to bring it to committee just so it's on the record that we're pursuing that, and we're working with town of Lake George.
This is a project that we're trying to do. It's a multifaceted project. What we're hoping to do is put in some primary parking in the vicinity of the Beach Road to generate some income. The secondary thing is put a sidewalk connecting the Beach Road to Route 9, which would be our gateway project. In the wintertime, we're hoping to utilize that as a snowmobile lane, get the snowmobiles off the bike trail and get them onto the sidewalk. That would connect to the sidewalk on the Gateway 21, and we just need a short section from just past the Luzerne Road to Bloody Pond Road, and they would have access to Washington County. So it's an ongoing project trying to fill that gap for the snowmobiles, and the parking hopefully will generate some funding for us to pay back this project. Lastly, I'd like to thank Jeff and the Warren County DPW for all of their help, both on this project and on the Westbrook one. They've been a tremendous help, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Can we have like 10% of the parking, or this county, can we work out a deal?
Yeah, we can work out a deal.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, that's it. I did attach our, overtime report and, the fuel report, which is through the end of last year, which I'm happy to say we ended well in the black. And, hopefully the fuel prices continue, at the current levels. We're certainly enjoying some great savings there.
Good. Is there anything else from the committee? I see Mr. Austin had passed out a Upper Hudson Rail Trail frequently asked questions. I didn't know if there's anything you wanted to say.
I know you're all busy, and you know, I've said almost everything I wanted to say in other venues. There's one thing I'd like to bring up is I am curious about the status of the negotiations with Iowa Pacific. So, something you can comment on it?
Oh, yeah, you can comment. I don't know.
To the best of our knowledge at this point in time, it would appear that, Iowa Pacific would want to renew their contract.
Active discussions underway?
Well, it was just a phone call, and I've got to, we're gonna have to set up a special committee meeting to have a discussion on it, but that'll be the next step. I think it looks like it's gonna be a go for another 5 years.
No matter what happens, my recommendation would be to make sure there's a clause in that new contract that resolves the issue of their ownership of the Caboose extension. That would greatly restrict the county's freedom to act if you decide to go with the trail option next year or 5 years from now. Their ownership of that, because of federal laws and other railroad-related things, may really prevent you from so possibly that could be resolved ahead of time with a good clause in the contract.
Supervisor Seaver?
I'm just wondering, and I'm not familiar with how that contract works, but will that opportunity to approve come to the board, or is that an automatic extension that the railroad has for that 5 year? You said it was just a phone call, I'm just wondering what the process is.
It will definitely come back to this committee for review first, because they do want, there's a personal guarantee that was in the contract that I believe has a clause that it's gone anyway, but that will be one thing I think they wanted removed. And then the other discussion is whether or not it's for a full 5-year term. And that was the only 2 points I think we're down to on the contract at this point. And so that would have to come back to this committee, and then it would go on to the full board. The existing contract, though, it's my recollection that it has a clause in there that essentially gives them the right to renew for 5 years, because it was basically a 5 and 5 when it was bid out.
Without board approval?
When you say without board approval, I think I'd want to go back and double check the contract on that.
Supervisor Brock?
When you say they have a right to renew, does it mean that we have to give it to them at on the same term?
Yes.
Well, I may ask, I believe the option clause was quite specific about a notification that was to be provided by last June sometime, which they did not meet. I don't think anyone in this room has the authority to waive that requirement. Do you agree with that?
If that's not up to me, but the county attorney, then Martin Afferdew, it was my recollection that he didn't see that as a critical factor. They had, I think, in a short time thereafter, indicated their desire to renew.
Okay, if there's nothing else, motion to adjourn. Supervisor Wood? Supervisor Frazier?
Oh, that's right, you got one. Oh.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.